Hey guys, it's Miss Simpson and it is time for reading today. So I want to talk with you about more poetry. So we're going to watch this quick video. We're not going to watch all 2 minutes of it, but just a minute or so where there are kids performing a variety of different types of poetry. So I just want you to see them performing it. I have this video and one more that I want you to see. All right.
I pick up the pencil, but I ask myself why. I have no story to tell, no pain, no reason to write. Staring at the blank page, a thought wanders before me. I see a spark reaching out to grab it, my hand stretched out as far as I can, and nothing. It's all lost, all thought, all purpose. So I stare at the paper again, for hours it seems, as I look up at the clock shining 1 p.m. I was ready to take a break. Standing up, fists clenched, shoulders broadened, until I'd realized I had started at 12:59, and that hunched me back over while releasing a sigh. So I continue to stare, waiting for that booklet of notebook paper to work its magic, to stare back at me and blink. That is what fuels me, a sense of accomplishment that I couldn't receive from the clock. As the time slips away, I realize I'm not alone, lost and abandoned in this blank page. So when you find yourself and you're reaching for that spark, ready to grab it, but pull back, when you have emotion built up inside but can't seem to find the words to release it and to release you, I am trapped, my feet glued to the floor, a cluttered closet of insignificant thoughts, searching for the one to set me free, to fill up the emptiness of that blank page. But this time, when I look back at that page, I see words. So when you battle with that first blank page, those words you can't seem to find, just pick up that pencil, as I did mine.
So I wasn't going to show the whole thing, but oh my gosh, that was absolutely incredible. I'm not going to show you the other video because that one was just absolutely incredible. That little girl wrote about her and her we always call it like writer's block at the very beginning and how that feels and what you should do. And I'm sure all of you can relate to that poem when you first get a prompt from me and I say, okay, now go write. And you're staring at a blank piece of notebook paper and you don't know what to do. So I just wanted to show you that there are a lot of kids that do poetry and talk about poetry and write poetry. And she was performing a type of poem. And that's really what my lesson is about today, the different types of poetry. So let's go through and let's talk about the different types of poetry. We are only going to do 3 today and 3 tomorrow. And today I'm going to teach you 2, actually 3, but 2 of them are some of the most common that you're going to see. And the first one is free verse. Now, this is basically any kind of poem. It doesn't have a set line length, so it doesn't need a certain amount of words. There's not a rhythm to it. There's no rhyming. There's literally no rules. It is a way of just conveying your feelings and your ideas. So again, free verse. There's no rules. It's just free verse. So if you write a poem and it doesn't rhyme and there's no rules to it, you don't follow a haiku, which I'll talk about in a second, or a quatrain or lyrical. If you don't follow any of those rules, guess what it is? Free verse. No rules. So when you think of free verse, it is your no rules poem. The next thing I want to talk to you about is a rhyming poem, and it is down here in the bottom right-hand corner. I am sure that you have heard of a rhyming poem. It's a poem that rhymes. The end of the lines rhyme. So this is couplets with 2 rhyming lines. A quatrain has 4 rhyming lines, but a rhyming poem has 2 rhyming lines. So you don't look at every single word to rhyme. You only look at the very last word and you decide, do any of those last words in the line rhyme? And I'll show you an example in just a second. And now let's talk about a haiku. Okay, say haiku with me. 1, 2, 3. Haiku. A haiku is a very short poem and it's from Japan. It's normally about nature. The first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and the third line has 5 syllables. And this is a traditional form of Japanese poetry. So a haiku, that's a lot to remember. 575 is really the biggest thing. 5 syllables. So remember, a syllable is like when you can clap in a word. So let's say the word backyard. So backyard, 2 syllables. If we say the word adventure, adventure, 3 syllables. So your first line has 5 syllables, second line has 7, and your last line has 5 syllables. Again, this might rhyme, it might not rhyme. It doesn't really matter. All that really matters about it is the syllable count. So I'm going to show you some examples of each of these different kinds of poems so you kind of know what they are and what they look like. So the first one that I am going to show you is a free verse. There's no rules to a free verse poem. It doesn't rhyme. There are literally no rules. So let's read this one. Jumping from the sky, one by one, onto the tip of my nose, drifting with the wind, dancing in the mist, creating a masterpiece, a scene of blanket of white, and only white, quieting the hustle of screaming horns, slowing the rush of passers-by, layers of white, fleeting, peaceful in the big city. So there's no rules. The lines aren't the same. Like this is so much longer than this. Then one by one is kind of in a weird spot. None of these, the end of these words rhyme. So sky, one, by, one, tip, nose. None of those words rhyme. Drifting, wind, dancing, mist. None of it rhymes. There's literally no rules to this poem. This person wrote it like this just because they wanted to. Let's now look at a rhyming poem, and I'm sure this one you will see. The sweet smell of spring, like cinnamon toast, or the fresh ocean air as it sings by the coast. The colors so pretty, the sun paints the sky, and flowers that blossom dance happily nearby. Oh, but not every picture of spring calms my head. My mind starts to spin every morning in bed. The sound of the birds in a fight for the floor, chirping and chirping some more. As I lay in my bed trying to sleep, will they ever be quiet? Will they ever not cheep? It continues to grate on my every last nerve. I just want to rest. Give me what I deserve. A morning of quiet. Let the rest of us sleep. Can you just, for 1 second, please not make a peep? Oh, the sweet sounds of spring. They're driving me crazy. On Saturday mornings, I wish birds were more lazy. So let's look. Toast, coast. Do those rhyme? Yes. Does spring and air? Those don't rhyme. So when you're looking, you're only looking at the last word of the line. So pretty, sky, blossom, nearby. So sky, nearby, that rhymes. Most of the time it follows the same rhyming pattern through the whole entire poem. So the second line and the fourth line of every single stanza is probably going to rhyme. So I'm going to look here and say the second line and the fourth line, head, bed, it rhymes. Floor, more, rhymes. Sleep, cheap. Nerve, deserve. Sleep, peep, again. Crazy, lazy. So again, it follows the same rhyme pattern through the whole entire poem. And the whole line doesn't have to rhyme, just that very last word in the line. So this one is a rhyming poem. So now let's talk about a haiku, and I'm going to show you this one. Butterfly above, sitting on a pink flower, sipping sweet nectar. That's literally it. Sometimes there's more than one stanza, but most of the time it's just one sweet, quick little stanza. It has 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. So let's see if this one follows the haiku rule. So, butterfly above. butterfly above. That is 5 syllables. Let's see. 7 now. Sitting on a pink flower. Yep. 7. Sipping sweet nectar. 5. So it follows the 5-7-5 rule. So when you think haiku, I want you to think 5-7-5. Also, it's about nature. So is this about some sort of nature? Yeah, it's talking about a butterfly on a flower, basically. So it is about nature, and this is a Japanese style poem. And these poems, again, they usually don't rhyme, but that's about it. Haiku is one of the easiest as long as you can remember 5-7-5. Tomorrow we're going to talk about a few more different types of poetry. Not rhyme. We're going to talk about quatrain, lyrical, and narrative tomorrow. And your job is to write down below. I am going to post 1, maybe 2 poems. And you're going to have to label those poems with what type of poem it is. That's it. So you have free verse, rhyme, and haiku. So I'm going to post a couple of poems down below and just read the poem and somewhere on the poem write free verse, rhyme, haiku, whatever it is. Just write it at the top of the poem. All right, guys, I love y'all so much, and I hope that you have a fantastic day. Remember, read the poem and somewhere on there, just write what kind of poem it is. All right.